Hello, everyone. This is Amy, the Mystic Rose Tarot, Sunday, July 26th. And today, if anyone's been keeping watch of my last few videos, I've been discussing the relationship of the astrological decans, their signs, and their planetary influence and in relation to the tarot. This is something that when I started my tarot practice, it was something that I was aware of and interested in, but at the time it was so complicated because I was just starting to get into my tarot practice, and I needed to at least start basing a foundation to understand and work with the tarot. You need to have that understanding first, when using your divination tools, and if you want to expand and explore on it, then you do when you feel ready and confident to go into a deeper realm. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to just do like a Q&A. I lightly promoted this, so I don't know how many people are going to come across this, but if you are interested in taking part, please do. And what I'm asking of all my viewers is to have a Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck standing by if you do have a tarot practice, or at least a Rider-Waite-Smith inspired deck. And the reason why I'm focusing specifically on those decks is that when I go and discuss the astrological correspondences with the major arcana, the minor arcana, and the court cards, a lot of the contemporary decks have their own personality, and some of those decks may be difficult to follow astrologically. Now, there are decks that are designed in such a way that they do incorporate astrological signs, like the signs for Saturn, Pluto, Saturn, Pluto, Uranus, Venus, so on and so forth, and also the astrological signs as well. But when it comes to the tarot and going into the specifics, when a planet rules in a sign with a specific element in the tarot, it's nice to have the images relating to each other. So for people who want to explore this, I think it's best that you do have the rudimental basics of understanding the tarot and a little bit of a familiarity with astrology. Just familiar with the planets, the signs, and the decans is a different ballgame. The decans come in 10, 20, and 30 degrees. And these, from 0 to 30 degrees, rules an entire astrological month. So a good example is we are now in the month of Leo. So with Leo, we are in 0 to 10 degrees. And I have to look at my chart because I was going through this last night, and the chart that I'm using is set up slightly different. So for Leo, our first week is Saturn. So right now we are in Saturn of Aries, or Saturn of Leo. And to give an example, let me go here. I have the Pagan Otherworlds tarot deck. So this is what I was wanting to describe, is that, let me see what I have here. Where is, give me one moment, here we go. So this is what I mean by using a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. The symbology incorporates this as a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And this is a contemporary deck, Pagan Otherworlds, that was released a few years ago. It still uses the influence of the Rider-Waite-Smith, but their interpretation is just slightly different. Instead of Leo, they use the bear when it comes to restraint and honing into our own inner power, inner strength. So by having a deck like this, a contemporary deck that falls with the influence of the Rider-Waite-Smith, when talking about the astrological signs and the correspondences, it'll be easier to follow. A lot of it's not going to have obvious images. Like here, this would be normally the Leo, the lion that we would see here. And here we see the bear. They're using a different animal energy to correspond for strength. But it still falls in line. You would just have to keep in mind that normally the strength card is Leo. Just interpret this, this bear for the energy of strength and courage, which the lion has. So you have to think a little differently. But as I have mentioned, we are in the first week. We are in the first decan. And let me grab my dates here. So July 22nd to August 1st, we're right in the middle of this decan, which is 0 to 10 degrees. And it's in Saturn, as I mentioned, Saturn in Leo. Okay, so keep in mind what the attributes of Saturn is about. Saturn involves restrictions, limitations, setting these limitations within ourselves, working within these boundaries, building discipline for further growth. So I feel Saturn in Leo, and I'm going to show you the astrological decan card that relates for that. So Saturn in Leo shows the discipline that is needed to attain the strength and the courage, but still maintain vitality. You know, the Leo is ruled by the sun. I don't want to start talking about too many planets and star influences because I don't want to lose anyone. But with that energy of Saturn and Leo for this decan week of July 22nd to August 1st, we can use that energy, that discipline to build inner strength, to build that courage, to go forth. So I'm going to go somewhat slow with this because I'm not going to go through all the cards. If anyone does have questions, please chime in and I will explain. So let's talk a little bit about the decans. Decans, as I mentioned, 0 to 10 degrees rules the first week of that astrological month, which is, for now, we're in Leo. 0 to 10 degrees is, I have to keep looking at my notes here, July 22nd to August 1st. And then we have the planets moving 10 to 20 degrees. That puts us in the middle of the astrological month. The decans is 10. Decade, the term decade, 10 years. Decan, 10 days. That's a good way of remembering it. 10 days, 0 to 10, 10 to 20. We're now into 20 days. And then 20 to 30 degrees, or 20 to 30 days, we are in the tail end of that astrological month. And each decan, a new planet comes in, as well as a new sign for each astrological month. So we're in the month of Leo. So the planets are going to move each decan. 0 to 10 degrees will be Saturn for this week, July 22nd to August 1st. August 2nd to August 11th is going to be Jupiter in Libra, or Jupiter in Leo, which will be not this week, the following week, and then Mars in Leo, which will wrap up the end of the astrological month of Leo. So as I mentioned, each of these decans is assigned tarot-wise a minor arcana card. Now, these correspondences that I'm working with come from the Golden Dawn correspondences, which were created, I think, like late 1800s, early 1900s. As the Golden Dawn was being formed and they were building their practice, they created a specific astrological series, they being the Golden Dawn, for their practice, and also to relate to a deck that would become a great influence for many tarot creators and tarot practitioners, and that's the Thoth Tarot. So I will not be making reference to the Thoth deck at all. The reason why I'm doing this, when I'm not using the Thoth deck specifically, is I'm trying to simplify the Golden Dawn astrological attributes, correspondences, how they used it in the Thoth deck, and bringing it in to use for our Rider-Waite-Smith decks, for our RWS-inspired decks, so that you can employ more astrological perspectives into your tarot. And so, as I mentioned earlier when I started this video, I've always had an influence, I've had an influence of astrology within my practice, but to meld it in with the tarot and finding the Golden Dawn correspondences, I wanted to see how can I make this simple, and so that people don't have to buy the Thoth deck. And I'm saying go and buy it. It's a wonderful deck. It's a deck to learn from. It's a deck to practice with and take a hermetic, Kabbalic perspective on it. But when it comes to the Golden Dawn astrology correspondences, I want to just simplify it and make it easier for people to use for the Rider-Waite-Smith. So anyhow, there are 36 decans, and within those decans, we have the minor arcana cards that are associated within those decans. So it adds, I think, there's three astrological cards, or three minor arcana cards for each astrological sign in the major arcana. Okay, so when you look back at the videos I've created, I broke them down into 3 parts. I started off with the court cards, I went backwards, and I broke down the planets and the signs and the decans that are affiliated with the court cards. There's more of a seasonal influence with the court cards. The minor arcana, I focus wholly on the minor arcana from aces to 10. And we went through all the elements, wands, cups, swords, pentacles. We went through all these elements, ace to 10, and I went through them through the decans. So like what decan rules the 2 of Wands, what decan rules the 5 of Pentacles, so on and so forth. I know in time, as I practice using this and incorporating it in my tarot, I should be able to remember what card is ruled by a planet and sign. but because they shift, the planets shift with each sign, there's not a set pattern. So it's not like 2, 3, 4 of Wands is Mars in Aries, Sun in Aries, Venus in Aries. And then for the coins, like 5, 6, 7 of coins, we go into Mercury, Moon, and Saturn in Taurus. For each sign, the planet changes. And when the planet changes, there's a different decan. So it's complex, but if you really put your mind to it, you can follow this easily. It'll make sense. And I'm going to I'm going to do a practice reading using these decans. I want to do the videos first as a lesson for me, because when I verbally speak about something that I'm excited about and wanting to learn more about, I'll be able to retain it more. So yeah, the planets are the ones that are going to be a little bit difficult to follow. The minors in relation to the season and the signs and the elements that they rule are pretty straightforward. But I will include links, which I have already in my previous videos, the 3-part series, links that you can download or at least print out by going to the website. A decan wheel, which actually shows the minor arcana in relation to the court cards, and I believe it also has the major arcana as well. And then it goes into the decan and the planet that is associated with it. This may sound like Greek, but when you read and you look more into it, it does make sense. In time, it's something that, it's a practice. Okay, so we're in the month of Leo. We're in the first 0 to 10 degrees in the planet of Saturn in Leo. So the astrological card that rules this first week of Leo, Saturn in Leo, is the 5 of Wands. And we know the 5 of Wands. I'm going to hold this card just so there's a reference involved. So we know the 5 of Wands involves a challenge of some sort. You've reached a point, creatively, energy-wise, where it's time to just sort of take a moment. There's a little bit of an imbalance that's been taking place, and we need to kind of look into that and see what the issue is. So for this week, for June 22nd to August 1st, Saturn in Leo, 5 of Wands, influenced by the Strength card. Find that strength. Use the powers of Saturn to like I said earlier, to put in that discipline, to put in that courage to really see what went wrong here, or what changes can we make, to avoid a situation like this happening again. So we can do this, we can do readings like this on a weekly basis. If you want to pull a card out that is ruled in a particular decan that astrological month, you can use that minor arcana card, such as this, the 5 of Wands, as your card of guidance. The other thing too is, and I'll go through the rest of the decans for the month the month of Leo, is what I've done is I've broken down in all the 12 major arcana and their astrological sign of influence, I've assigned a particular court card that I feel, and I mentioned it in my previous videos. I call this the court card of influence. Excuse me. And the decans, let me show you this wheel that I have here. Don't be scared when you see this. This is what I'm saying. There's a lot of information to understand, but this wheel is wonderful. I got this from a site that when I went to it, I no longer saw this wheel on the site unless they moved it around. So the link that I have for the decan, this is a decan astrological wheel, is from a different site. But this one I had already printed and it works nicely. So just to deviate a little bit, I'm trying to go as close as possible. So this is following the Golden Dawn correspondences. We see the aces, then we see our court cards. Well, we see our royal cards. And then we see the remaining of the court cards here. The Queen, the Knight, Prince. Now this again is all related to the Golden Dawn. So this is more or less followed in suit for the Doth Tarot. And then as we go closer, we start seeing these are the tarot cards, number-wise, affiliated to their element. So we have the Wands, Cups, Swords, and Pentacles. Number-wise, they're already assigned, and they're assigned based on their decan and their relationship. So what I was going to say is, or what I am going to say is, if you notice here, since we're already in Leo, we're starting here because we're moving from Cancer, Leo, Virgo, so on and so forth. So the Knight, we see here, the Knight of Wands, or the Prince of Wands, falls back in the last week of Cancer, 20 to 30 degrees. So it picks up some of the influence of that last week of Cancer with the Four of Cups. But primarily, or this is the King, I'm sorry. The King of Wands rules the month of Leo. So that's how I'm selecting my court cards. I'm selecting the court card of influence for each major arcana based on where they hold their time the most. Okay. Another example here. We'll go here into Virgo. Okay. So we see the Knight of Pentacles. It picks up the last 20 to 30 degrees of Leo. So it picks up some fire energy, but it primarily rules the remaining month of Virgo through these two decans, 20 to 30 degrees. This is 0 to 10, 10 to 20, and then 20 to 30. So I use the Knight of Pentacles or Knight of Discs as my court card of influence for the month of Virgo. And we could see for each decan, for the Knight of Pentacles, it holds a little bit of the Seven of Wands, but it's also it's also 9 and 10 of the Knight of Pentacles or Discs. So this chart is a wonderful way of learning how to incorporate the decans and their placement within the core cards and their placement within the minor arcana. The only thing different with this wheel is it doesn't focus on the planets. I can show you a chart. I'm not going to show you the chart that I was working on because I have to redo it. I also put the link for this one here. Many people in the tarot community know Ben Bell, who is just a knowledge of esoteric information, the occult, the tarot, astrology, and she is so giving to the community, and she shares a lot of her information that you could download for free. And this is a chart that I got from her website, I should say. And this breaks down the planets. The only thing different with this wheel is it's not related to the tarot. It's just related to the planets and astrological signs and the different degrees that they move in. So seeing that this is reversed, I can still interpret this a little bit. So here we see Moon in Libra, which is an air sign, 0 to 10 degrees. I'm not gonna repeat all of these because I think you could see these. And then while we're in the month of Libra, it's the sun sign. The second part, again, each decan is 10 days. There's some days in the month where there's 31 days, and you can make adjustments accordingly to that. Saturn, 20 to 30 degrees in Libra. And then we have Jupiter, which is going to be 20 to 30 degrees. And as you see here, I put for each change 0 to 10 degrees because I know what the rest are. And then here in the wheel, she has it broken down into elements and the signs that it rules. And then she has the glyphs for all the planets. What I'd like to try and do is, I don't know if there's one online. I like to find a chart, or if I can, create a chart where basically you're incorporating all of these elements. The sign of the astrological sign, the element of that sign, the degrees of the decan, the planet that it's in, but related all to the tarot, so that when you look at a chart like this, you also have planets. So like here, we are in Leo. Right here, because we're in the five of wands week, I like to maybe have another outside wheel that shows that it is Saturn in Leo. And then, the next one, so on and so forth. Saturn in Leo, Jupiter in Leo, so on and so forth. Excuse me. Where you don't have to keep going back and forth, and pulling a chart like this to find out what planet that tarot card is in. But for now, this is good. At least you have the charts. You could start building a relationship with the tarot deck this way. And also the planets. Know their qualities, cardinal, fixed, mutable. So it's actually easy. It's just a lot of information that needs to be taken in. And that's something not to be feared of, because, when we're working with the tarot, if you have that love and that desire to grow and learn, and understand the tarot deck and all its other outside attributes, it just makes learning that much more. So we were talking about the court cards. So as I have mentioned, with each astrological or major arcana archetype and their astrological association, there's the minor arcana. And they have their own cards assigned to each major arcana archetype that holds astrological signs, that has that kind of energy to it. So when I talk about the court card of influence, as I showed you in the chart, right here, the court cards, they fall back. So again, I'm working with the court card that holds its placement the longest in each astrological sign. And that's how I'm associating the court card for each major arcana. So the court card of influence for the month of Leo is the King of Wands. And another thing I have mentioned in my discussion is that when it comes to the royal, I call them the royal couple, the king and queen, also based on their elements, wands, swords, pentacles, and cups. I feel the astrological signs that are typically associated with this particular king or queen can actually be swapped, because the knight cards are the mutable cards, while the royal couple cards, the king and queens, tend to be either fixed or cardinal. The quality of mutable is someone who is able to change based on the situation. And the knights are that energy. The knights are that energy where it's movement. It's a fiery court card, but based on its element, it influences that element and how that energy is going to be used. So with the king or queen, I would say the King of Wands could be either, it's primarily associated with Leo, but I feel it can also work with Aries. And the same with the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands can be seen as Aries, but it can also be seen as Leo. And that's all based on the questions that are, or the question that's being asked in the reading, the layout, so on and so forth. But here we have the King of Wands as our court card of influence for the month of Leo. And the King of Wands, or any of these King and Queen cards that I pull for these astrological signs, I feel that is your potential outcome for that month, astrological month, by following the guides, the archetype here of strength, the three minor arcanas, which I haven't discussed yet, except this one. If you follow the influences of the minor arcana 5, 6, 7 of Wands, if you understand how these cards interrelate to each other and work with them fully, you can achieve the success or the potential of the King of Wands. So I'm hoping that makes sense. it's a different way of relating our major arcana and our minor arcana in the card cards. That's how I'm breaking this down. And bringing in the influence of the planets as well. 5, 6, and 7. 5 of Wands is Saturn and Leo. That's 0 to 10 degrees. 10 to 20 degrees. 6 of Wands. And that is ruled, let me see here, Jupiter. Jupiter and Leo. And then our 7 of Wands, Mars and Leo. So when you take that planetary influence, and this is our 20 to 30 degrees, this is going to be our last 10 days of the astrological month. Mars and Leo. Mars and Leo, they're both fiery elements. We're using the wands here. So there's going to be a lot of momentum and energy during that week in that astrological sign. And by employing the properties of the minor arcana, you can start finding direction, growth, the creativity that you need to succeed. And in doing so, we have the King of Wands. So that's how I'm relating this information with the tarot and the astrology. It's pretty simple. The only thing you need to do is to just pull out your deck, RWS-inspired deck, or the RWS deck, and separate the major arcana by their 12 astrological associations. Okay, and I'll go through that briefly. I'm not going to go through all the cards because I did that on my last video, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy. So what I'm going to do is, I'm also going to talk about the planets in a moment, but I just want to go through the major arcana influences with the planets, with the signs and the decans. So first part of our astrological wheel is the Emperor, and that is ruled by Aries. Aries is a cardinal sign, fire energy, the initiator. The Hierophant, Taurus. And then we have the Lovers for Gemini. So as you're watching this, pull out your deck and break the major arcana into these cards as I'm discussing. We have the Chariot for Cancer. So you know what, let me do this. Yeah, I'll keep going because then I'm gonna rule the direction of this. Then Leo for Strength. Okay, so that's cards 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 is the Hermit for Virgo. Justice, Libra. And also, when you break up the cards like this, in the 12 astrological signs, you will also see we go through our seasonal change. So Emperor to the Lovers is our spring season. Chariot to the Hermit is our summer season. Now we're Justice. Here's Death for Scorpio. Temperance, Sagittarius. And each season has its three elements of influence. Three to four. And now we go into our winter months. Capricorn, Earth. I love that devil card for the pagan otherworld. It's really beautiful. Star card, Aquarius. So we had Earth, Air. And then water. The moon is ruled by Pisces. And also focus on those elements too. As I mentioned, each season here astrologically holds three elements. Our summer season is water, fire, and earth. Our fall season is air, water, and fire. And that's another way of seeing and interpreting the tarot. If you're doing something seasonally, if someone's asking about a particular time period, you can also incorporate those elements into the reading. And then, of course, we have the devil for the Capricorn, Earth, Star, Aquarius, Air, and the moon, Pisces, water. Okay, let's focus on the planets. I'll see if I can go into the decans. Let's see here. Let me go into the season since I just mentioned this. Our aces and our minor arcana and our pages in the court cards, they're interrelated because they're both showing the beginnings, the initiating of something new to explore. Okay, Ace of Wands, Page of Wands. Now let me deviate here for a minute. I have seen online where seasonally this could be read differently. Okay, Ace of Wands, we normally would see, as I mentioned, for our summer months. But I believe in the Golden Dawn astrological correspondences, I believe the aces fall in a different season. I almost want to say I think they fall in the line of fall. I believe so. But typically, this is for the spring season. Ace and Page of Wands. Go Ace, Page of Cups. This is our. See, yeah, this could possibly rule. This could normally rule summer. See the ocean and whatnot. Our summer months. But I'm getting connection that these Ace and Page of Cups could also represent winter. To further confuse. But anyhow, we'll just stay in line. Our age and pace, Ace and Page of Cups will be our summer months. Ace, Page of Swords. We will fall, and possibly it could go into our winter months as well, the beginning of winter. Ace of Pentacles ideally is the month of, rules our winter months. So these cards would be for the influence of Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Okay, so let's discuss the planets really quick, and then I'm going to wrap it up. All right, so the planetary influence that we have with our major arcana. We have 10 planets in our major arcana that the archetypes are primarily assigned these planets, just like the 12 major archetypes are assigned with a astrological sign. Some of these signs and planets do meld into each other because of their rulership and the element that it's in and its influence. So there are cards. A good example would be a Tower card, which I will show here. The Tower card is Mars ruled, but also it could be Pluto. When it's Pluto, that's when Scorpio comes in. Scorpio has that aspect of Pluto in it. But let's go through the planets, and I will further discuss that a little bit more. All right, our Fool card, ruled by Uranus. The Magician, the planet Mercury. The High Priestess, the Moon. The signs of influence for this card can also be Cancer and Pisces. Cancer's energy is ruled by the Moon as well as Pisces. Let me go back here to Mercury really quick. Virgo and Gemini. They're both air signs, and they're both ruled by Mercury. And this is the Magician card, the archetype of influence for those cards. And Uranus holds its own. It's the Fool, and it rules unexpected changes, shifts, but a bit of an adventurous turn of events. Let's see, get this in order. Then our next planet, our major arcana, is Venus. And the major arcana is ruled through the Empress. And we see here it's very subtle. You see her holding the glyph for Venus there. The Empress is the creatrix. She is the nurturer. All things beauty, all things natural. Next card is Wheel of Fortune, which is held in Jupiter. And the sign associated with the Wheel of Fortune is Sagittarius. And that's luck, success. Also, it's a card of karma. Back up here. Empress, because it is ruled with Venus. Astrological signs of influence be Taurus and Libra. The Hangman is Neptune. And Neptune holds its influence through the sign of Pisces. It's going into that illusionary realm. And Neptune and the other planet that we're going to look at in a moment holds its rulership with Pisces. Next card is the Tower. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, the Tower is Mars. So the other planet of influence is Pluto. Mars is aggressive energy, destruction. It's a self-destroying energy. Pluto is the same, holds similar in the sense that it does destroy, but it's getting to the root. It's breaking down things that it needs to get to the core of what's going on. Scorpio is held with Pluto and also Mars because of the aggressive energy that Scorpio is at times known for, their passion. But the primary planet of rulership for Scorpio is Pluto. And we'll see that in our next card. I am missing one of my cards. I just realized this. Okay, so we know the moon is ruled by Pisces. And we related that to Neptune. Judgment. Oh, I did go out of order. So sorry. Sun card. And this one's easy. It's ruled by its own star, the sun. The sun is vitality, energy, life-giving source. This is success at its ultimate. You're in a great place in your life. Things are nurturing. You can have a sunflower here, which we would see in our Rider-Waite-Smith. Total comparison here. And there's our sunflower right there in the corner. Okay, our next card. Okay, so Pluto. I call this the self-judging card. This is a card of really looking within yourself. And you're being called out to make changes. Look within yourself, see what really needs to be done. Pluto, the planet of destruction and regeneration. Pluto is giving you that opportunity to really make that change that you really have to make. It's also a little bit related to the Death card, which is ruled by Scorpio. But the transformation here, especially since we're going through the cycle of the major arcana, is very important. It is needed. So it's the Judgment card ruled by Pluto. And then lastly, the card of discipline and meditations is Saturn. by having that self-discipline within yourself and going through all the different experiences and guides from the major archetype. This is the world. And I will show you the RWS-inspired version of it. We don't have our 4 fixed signs here for guidance, but the energy is still there. It's success. It's taking that sun energy, utilizing it internally, externally, and coming to the world. So if you know what your Saturn is in your astrological chart, read about the sign that it's in. If it's Saturn in Aries, Saturn in Gemini, or something like that similar, look into those signs and see how those influences can make who you are, and then apply it astrologically through the tarot by finding the planet and the sign that it's in and going through the decans. Like I said, this week we're in Saturn in Leo, and our next one is Jupiter in Leo, and then Mars in Leo. Use those planets in relation to the astrological sign and the minor arcana. The minor arcana for this month in Leo. For this week, July 22nd to August 1st, 5 of Wands. From July 22nd, from August 2nd to August 11th, Jupiter in Leo. And then August 12th to the 22nd, Mars in Leo. So our signs don't change for each astrological month. The planets do. When we move every 10 decans, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, our planets change. In Virgo, it will be Sun, Venus, Mercury. They all change in all the signs. Every 10 decans, we get a new planet. And that's a challenge. That's the challenge for remembering what planet the sign is in for each decan, for each astrological month. But by using the tarot and practicing with it, I feel that you will be able to get a good understanding of how the decan signs and planets can work and influence our practice in a great way. So that's it. Just a brief run through, no questions, but I will leave this video up. Feel free to leave any questions or comments that you may have regarding this, and get to your tarot decks, build that connection. And if you are interested in astrology and bringing that into the tarot, check out my previous series and take notes, because I do a lot of talking and I show the cards for guidance and stuff, but I don't flash any charts or anything. I have those links that I am including in the description, so that you can continue your understanding and learning about this wonderful way of growing with the tarot. That is it. Have a wonderful day, evening. My name's Amy, the Mystic Rose Tarot. My website is www.themysticrosetarot.com. On Instagram, I have the same name, the Mystic Rose Tarot. And I might tomorrow do my Mystic Moon Monday, where I talk about moon energy and I do a few readings. Tomorrow the moon is in Scorpio, which is just wonderful for me, because when the moon's in Scorpio, I tend to be more intuitively connected. I have all the other water signs, Cancer and Pisces. For some reason, Scorpio, when the moon's in Scorpio, it always increases my drive and energy to divine with the cards more so. Anyhow, so I may do that tomorrow around 7 o'clock. I'll put a reminder if I do decide to do it tomorrow. All right. Thanks again. Have a wonderful day, everyone. This is Amy signing off.